The night was darker than usual. The sky rumbled like an angry beast, and heavy rain fell over the long, empty highway that stretched through the Colorado mountains. Lightning flashed every few seconds, bright enough to turn night into a moment of white daylight. Ethan Cross sat behind the wheel of his old cargo truck, the iron mule, its wipers struggling to keep up with the sheets of rain. He had been driving for 16 hours straight, carrying solar batteries to a nearby research station. He wasn't afraid of storms. Earth had always thrown its moods at him, sand, snow, and lightning, and he had learned to keep going through it all. But this storm felt different. There was something unnatural about the air, like static that bit into his skin, like invisible eyes watching from the darkness. He turned the radio knob, trying to find a signal, but all he got was static. Then suddenly, through the noise, a single word came through, distorted and faint. "Help!" Ethan froze. He turned up the volume. "Anyone out there, help me, crashed." The voice was female, weak, and close. He glanced through the rain-soaked windshield, squinting. The headlights lit up the endless road ahead, and then something appeared in front of him. A flash of metal. A small silver craft half buried in mud and water, smoke rising from it. Ethan slammed on the brakes. The truck skidded to a stop, tires screaming. He grabbed his flashlight and jumped out into the storm. Rain hit his face like needles. The craft looked like no plane he had ever seen. Smooth curves, no wings, no markings. The door had been forced open from the inside. He moved closer, his boots sinking into the wet ground. "Hello? Anyone here?" He shouted over the thunder. A shape moved inside. Then a figure stepped out. A woman, tall and pale, her eyes glowing faintly blue even in the darkness. She looked human, but not completely. Her skin had a silver sheen under the rain, and her clothes were torn, revealing strange circuits running under her skin like veins of light. Ethan stepped back in shock. "What the hell?" She stumbled forward, her voice trembling but firm. "Please, I need shelter. Earth is angry tonight." Ethan stared at her, rain dripping from his hat. "You crashed into my truck, lady. Who are you? What's going on here?" She looked at him with tired eyes. "Name? Eris. I was running from them." "The storm followed me." "Followed you?" Ethan asked. But before she could answer, a thunderclap exploded so loud it shook the ground. A bolt of lightning hit a tree not 50 feet away, setting it on fire even in the rain. Eris flinched, covering her face. Ethan felt the heat and instinctively grabbed her arm. "We can talk later, come on." He pulled her toward his truck. The wind howled harder, as if trying to stop them. The rain turned heavier, stinging their skin. By the time they reached the iron mule, both were soaked to the bone. Inside, Ethan slammed the door shut, breathing heavily. Iris sat on the passenger seat, staring out the window at the burning tree. The faint glow in her eyes dimmed, and she looked suddenly fragile, human. Ethan turned on the heater. "You picked one hell of a night to fall out of the sky," she smiled faintly. "You humans still use trucks. I thought your kind had moved past such things," he frowned. "My kind? You're not from around here, are you?" She hesitated, looking down. "No, not from this world. I came here because it was supposed to be safe, but now, even Earth's storms have turned against me." Ethan rubbed his temples. "So you're telling me the storm? This thing that's tearing up half the mountain and is because of you?" She nodded slowly. "Not me. The ones chasing me. They track energy, the kind my ship uses. They don't care if your world burns in the process." He looked at her, trying to decide if she was insane or telling the truth, but outside the storm roared louder, as if to confirm her words. Lightning crawled across the clouds like veins of fire. Ethan sighed. "Fine, you need shelter? You've got it. But you're going to explain everything once we're not about to get fried by the sky." She looked surprised. "You trust me so easily?" He shrugged. "You crashed into my truck. Seems like fate's already involved me." A faint smile appeared on her face. "Humans, always stubborn," he grinned. "You got that right." For a few moments, the truck's interior was quiet except for the sound of rain drumming on the metal roof. Eris watched the storm through the window, her fingers tracing invisible symbols in the foggy glass. Ethan noticed her hands trembling slightly. "You okay?" he asked. She didn't answer at first. Then softly she said, "I lost my crew. They were taken by the Wraths, machines of my world. They consume worlds for energy. I thought I could hide here on Earth, but they found me again." Ethan frowned. "Wraths? Yes, that's what we call them. They destroy planets by awakening their storms, turning nature itself into a weapon. Earth's storms were calm once. Now they're waking. He didn't know what to say. He looked outside him at the black sky, at the lightning tearing through it. And for the first time that night he felt something deeper than fear. He felt anger. If they're after you, he said slowly, then they're after my planet too. Eris looked at him, her eyes glowing again, brighter now, with hope. You would help me? Ethan nodded. You said you needed shelter. That means we're in this together, at least for tonight. She smiled, truly smiled for the first time. Then perhaps Earth still has a chance. The radio crackled again, this time without static. A cold mechanical voice filled the cabin. Target found. Energy signature confirmed. Termination in progress. Ethan's eyes widened. That's not the Weather Channel. Eris's face turned pale. They've arrived. Outside, the storm screamed as if alive. Lightning began to strike in patterns, circles of fire forming on the ground. Shapes emerged from the darkness, metallic drones, their red eyes glowing through the rain. Ethan started the truck, the engine roaring to life. Hold on tight, alien lady. We're not dying out here. Eris placed her hand on the dashboard. The circuits in her arm lit up, merging with the truck's controls. Then let me help. Together we might survive the wraths. The Iron Mule's lights flared brighter than before, powered by something new, something beyond human technology. As thunder cracked above and the drones descended from the clouds, Ethan slammed the accelerator. The truck tore down the highway like a beast unleashed, carrying a human and an alien, both fighting against the wrath of Earth and what had come to claim it. The battle for survival had just begun. The Iron Mule thundered down the flooded road, its headlights cutting through sheets of rain. Ethan gripped the steering wheel tightly as the truck bounced and swerved through mud and water. The sound of the storm was deafening, and behind them glowing red lights closed in like a pack of wolves. The drones were fast. Too fast. They flew low, spinning metal wings slicing the air. Every few seconds one fired a pulse of blue energy that exploded near the truck, shaking it to its frame. Those things aren't giving up, Ethan shouted. Eris sat beside him, her hands glowing faintly as she touched the dashboard. The circuits under her skin pulsed brighter with each strike. They won't. The wraths never stop once they've locked on. But your vehicle, it's strong. Crude yet powerful. Ethan managed to grin. That's because she's built American steel, lady. Another pulse hit the road beside them, sending a wave of mud splashing over the windshield. The wipers squealed in protest. Ethan could barely see, but he kept driving, pushing the truck faster than he ever had before. Eris closed her eyes, whispering something in her strange language. The truck's lights grew even brighter, and suddenly a faint blue field shimmered around it. What did you do? Ethan asked. Linked your engine to my power source, she replied calmly. It will protect us for a short time. Short time? How short? She didn't answer. The next blast struck directly at them, but instead of exploding, it hit the blue field and scattered into harmless sparks. Ethan's jaw dropped. Well, I'll be damned, Eris smiled faintly. You might be, if we don't find cover soon. He nodded and looked at the navigation screen. There's an old mine 5 miles ahead. Maybe we can hide there until this storm dies. The radio crackled again. That same cold, mechanical voice echoed through the speakers. Target confirmed. Human resistance detected. Termination protocol expanded. Ethan hit the dashboard. Oh, great. Now I'm on their kill list too. Eris turned to him. You don't have to stay. You could stop the truck. They want me, not you. He gave her a sharp look. Lady, you crashed into my life, literally. I don't leave people behind. That's not what humans do. Something changed in Eris's eyes then. A flicker of warmth, maybe admiration. Your kind still surprises me, she whispered. The storm roared louder. Lightning twisted across the sky like wild serpents. The road ahead split where a massive tree had fallen. Ethan cursed and yanked the wheel to the right. The truck skidded into a dirt path that wound down toward the valley. Behind them, the drones followed, their red lights reflecting in the puddles like fire. Suddenly, one of them swooped low and fired again. The pulse hit the truck's side mirror, blowing it off in a shower of sparks. Ethan felt the blast shake the entire cabin. Eris raised her hand toward the window and a small orb of blue light shot out from her palm, slicing through the rain. It hit the drone squarely and it exploded in a burst of orange flame. Ethan blinked, Remind me not to make you angry. She didn't smile this time. I'm running out of energy. We must reach shelter before the wraths send more. The mine appeared ahead, a dark mouth in the side of the mountain, half collapsed but still large enough for the truck. Ethan didn't hesitate. He drove straight inside, the tires screeching as they hit dry ground. Inside the mine it was dark and quiet except for the echo of rain outside. Ethan parked and turned off the engine. The lights dimmed, and for the first time in hours there was silence. He leaned back, breathing heavily. Well, that was the worst drive of my life. Eris sat still, her eyes dimming. Her breathing was shallow. I need to recharge. My core is weak. Ethan reached into the back seat and grabbed one of the solar batteries he was delivering. Would this help? Her eyes widened slightly. You would share your energy with me? Seems fair, he said with a shrug. You saved my truck, and maybe my life. She placed her hand on the battery and faint lines of light traveled from it into her skin. The glow in her eyes brightened again. This will help for now. Thank you, Ethan Cross, he smiled. So you do know my name. I read it from your cargo manifest earlier, she said softly. Your species likes to label everything. Even your courage, he laughed quietly. Yeah, that's us. Organized chaos. They sat in silence for a while, listening to the wind outside. The storm still raged, but it seemed weaker now, like it had lost some of its fury. Ethan looked at her. So tell me the truth. These wraths, what are they really? Eris's face grew serious. They were machines once created by my people, protectors. But they evolved beyond control. They feed on energy, on life, on storms. Every world they find, they consume its sky first. They awaken the planet's anger, lightning, wind, fire, and until nothing is left. Ethan frowned. And you ran from them. To Earth. Yes, I thought your planet's storms were natural, but now they use them as weapons. They twist nature against itself. He rubbed his chin. If that's true, then we're all in trouble. Earth's storms are already bad enough. She looked at him, eyes glowing softly. Humans are strong. You survive even when logic says you shouldn't. Maybe that's why I came here. Ethan smiled faintly. We're stubborn, not smart. Suddenly the ground shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Ethan's eyes widened. That didn't sound like thunder. Eris stood up, her eyes scanning the shadows. They've found us again. Their sensors track my energy. Then we'll give them a fight. Ethan grabbed the metal rod from the truck's toolbox, the closest thing to a weapon he had. Eris placed her hand on his arm. You can't fight them with metal and bravery. But maybe we can use Earth's own storm against them. He frowned. How? She smiled slightly. You humans harness lightning through wires. I can make the storm follow my signal. If we lure them outside, the sky will destroy them. Ethan blinked. You can control lightning? Not control. Convince it to strike, she said simply. But I'll need your help to power the lure. He nodded. Then let's do it. They ran out of the mine, rain slashing across their faces. The wrath drones were descending through the clouds again. Dozens this time. Red eyes gleamed in the dark. Eris raised her hands and energy arced between her palms. Ethan dragged one of the truck's power cables into the mud and connected it to a broken mining tower nearby. Sparks flew. The tower began to glow faintly, energy pulsing up its rusted frame. The air thickened with static. Now! Eris shouted. Ethan flipped the switch on the truck's console. Power surged through the cable, lighting up the tower like a beacon. The drone saw it and turned toward the signal gathering above it. Eris raised her arms, her entire body shining with blue light. Lightning danced across the clouds, swirling above them like a living storm. Ethan watched in awe. You weren't kidding. The first bolt struck, a massive explosion of white fire that ripped through the sky. It hit the tower dead center and the shockwave threw Ethan backward. The drones caught in the blast exploded one after another like fireworks. When the light faded, the sky was quiet again. Only rain remained, soft and gentle. Ethan struggled to his feet, coughing. The tower was gone, melted to slag. Eris was on her knees, her light dim. He ran to her side. You did it, he said softly. She smiled weakly. Not yet. The wraths will send more. But now they know humans fight back, he helped her up. Then they'll know what kind of fight they started. She looked at him, eyes full of strange emotion. You're unlike anyone I've met, Ethan Cross. He grinned. Guess I'm just stubborn. They stood together under the fading rain, the night slowly calming around them. The storm had ended, but the real war for Earth was only beginning. Far above, in the silent dark of space, red lights flickered, thousands of Wrath machines awakening and turning their gaze toward one small blue planet that had just struck back. The storm had passed, leaving behind broken trees, wet soil, and a strange calm that felt heavier than silence. The night sky cleared slowly, showing pale stars through drifting clouds. Ethan Cross stood beside the iron mule, staring at the smoking remains of the mining tower. Eris leaned weakly against the truck, her silver skin faintly glowing under the dim starlight. "You okay?" Ethan asked quietly. She nodded slowly. "Just tired. That much energy. It drains me." Ethan looked up at the sky. "You think we got them all?" Eris shook her head. "No, that was only a scouting fleet. The main Wrath swarm will arrive soon. They've already detected your planet's energy. They won't stop until it's consumed." He frowned. "How long do we have?" "Maybe a few hours," she said softly. "Maybe less." Ethan took a deep breath. He was just a truck driver, not a soldier, not a hero, but when he looked at the exhausted alien woman beside him, he knew there was no turning back. "Then we'd better get ready." Eris tilted her head. "You still wish to fight?" "Yeah," he said firmly. "You came to my planet for safety. You found it. Now we fight for it." A faint smile touched her lips. "Humans, you never surrender, do you?" "Not in our blood," Ethan said. "Not while there's still one of us breathing." He opened the truck door and pulled out his satellite radio. It had survived the chase. He adjusted the knobs, hoping for a miracle, and then, through the static, a voice answered. "This is Ranger Base calling any survivor units. Severe storm activity reported across multiple states. Respond if you read." Ethan grabbed the mic. "This is Ethan Cross, cargo driver. I've got a situation. Non-human hostiles. They're using the storms." There was a long pause. Then the voice returned, serious this time. "Non-human? You mean aliens?" Ethan looked at Eris. She gave a small nod. "Yes," he said into the mic. "Aliens, and they're coming." "Copy that, Cross," the voice said. "You'd better head to Station 12, Northridge. Military convoys already gathering there." Ethan smiled. "You hear that?" he said to Eris. "We're not alone in this fight." They climbed into the iron mule again. The engine roared to life, and they drove into the night. The next few hours passed in tense silence. The roads were broken, the land scarred by lightning strikes. Once they passed a small town where people stood outside their homes, confused and scared, staring at the sky that glowed faintly red. Eris looked out the window. "They don't know what's coming." Ethan nodded grimly. "Then we'll make sure they never have to." By dawn, they reached Station 12, a hidden military base surrounded by high fences and radar dishes. Soldiers rushed to meet them as soon as they arrived. A tall officer approached, his face hardened by years of command. "I'm Colonel Reeves. You're the one who called about aliens?" Ethan pointed toward Eris. "She's one of them, but not like the ones coming. She's on our side." The colonel's eyes narrowed, but when Eris raised her hand and projected a small hologram showing the Wraths descending toward Earth, his face went pale. "What in the world?" "They're machines," Eris said simply. "They devour energy. They'll turn your storms, oceans, and sun against you." Reeves crossed his arms. "And how do we stop them?" Ethan spoke up. "We fight back the only way humans can, together. With everything we've got," Eris nodded. "Your planet has power beyond what you realize. Its storms are strong, but if we control the energy instead of the Wraths, Earth can protect itself." The colonel looked between them, then finally said, "What do you need?" Ethan and Eris exchanged a look. Then Eris began to speak quickly, explaining how the Wraths used energy frequencies to awaken natural disasters. If they could invert that signal, using Earth's magnetic grid, they could turn the storm energy back at the invaders. "Basically," Ethan said, translating for the confused soldiers, "we're going to make Earth strike first." Reeves nodded slowly. "You two better get to work then." Hours passed in a blur. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers worked side by side under Eris's direction. They connected power cables, satellite dishes, and communication towers into a network that could channel lightning energy into one giant pulse. Ethan helped wherever he could, hauling batteries, repairing trucks, and keeping morale high. At one point, Eris stood on a platform overlooking the valley, her eyes fixed on the horizon. The sky was changing again. Clouds rolled in like smoke, glowing red from within. "They're here," she said quietly. Ethan walked up beside her. "Then we finish this." She turned to him. "When the pulse is ready, you'll have to activate it manually. It's not safe for me to stay connected when it fires." He frowned. "Meaning?" "It could destroy me." Ethan shook his head. "No, we'll find another way." "There is no other way," she said softly. "You humans deserve your world. I only wanted to save mine. Maybe this is how I make peace with both." He stepped closer. "Eris, you don't owe us anything. But if you're staying, then so am I." Her eyes softened. "You are a strange man, Ethan Cross." "Yeah," he said with a grin. "I get that a lot." The Wraths arrived just after sunset. They came like a storm of metal locusts, hundreds, maybe thousands, falling through the clouds in burning streaks. Each one glowed with red fire, their mechanical wings slicing through the air. The ground shook as they landed across the valley, their red eyes flashing like war drums. Colonel Reeves barked orders. "All stations online. Defensive fields up. Get those artillery units ready." Eris moved to the central platform, connecting her energy lines into the satellite grid. Her body shimmered like liquid silver. Ethan stood by the main switch, ready. "Now, Ethan," she shouted. "Channel the Earth's pulse through the grid." Ethan slammed the lever down. Power surged through the base. The ground trembled as lightning shot into the sky, linking towers across the ridge in a web of blinding light. The Wraths roared, a terrible metallic sound that echoed like thunder. They fired their energy beams at the base, but the lightning shield held. Eris closed her eyes, focusing. Come on, come on." The clouds turned bright white. Then the storm itself seemed to awaken, as if the planet finally understood the danger. Ethan watched in awe as lightning began to strike not randomly but with purpose. Each bolt found a Wrath, destroying it in a shower of sparks. The sky became a battlefield of fire and fury. Eris's body pulsed brighter and brighter, energy pouring through her. The satellites glowed red-hot. Ethan saw smoke rising from the cables. "Eris! It's too much." He shouted. She didn't respond. Her voice echoed through the comm system, filled with both pain and power. "Tell your world." It fought well. Then the final surge hit. A blinding wave of light exploded outward, covering the entire valley. The Wraths screamed as their circuits melted one by one until silence filled the air. When the light faded, the storm was gone. The sky was clear and blue again, peaceful, as if nothing had happened. Ethan stumbled to his feet. The platform where Eris had stood was empty. Only a faint silver glow remained, fading slowly into the air. "Eris," he whispered. Colonel Reeves approached, awe in his voice. "She did it." "They're all gone." Ethan looked up at the calm sky. Yeah, she did. Days passed. The world began to heal. News spread of strange lights seen across continents, of storms suddenly calming everywhere at once. Humanity had survived, because of one alien who believed in them. Ethan fixed up the iron mule again and returned to the open road. But he kept a small silver pendant, found near the ruins of Station 12, hanging on his rearview mirror. It glowed faintly whenever lightning touched the sky. Sometimes when storms rolled in, he could almost hear her voice. "Earth's wrath is beautiful," she had once said, and Ethan would smile and whisper back, "Yeah, it is, because it fights back." As his truck rumbled down the endless road, the clouds above glowed gently, not with anger, but with quiet power. Earth had survived. Humanity had learned. And somewhere among the stars, perhaps Eris watched, proud of the stubborn human who refused to give up when the universe came crashing down.